Nathan, it's Wednesday, August 27th. So YouTuber TJ Milana nominated us for the Ice Bucket Challenge, which we completed yesterday with the help of our friends Katie, Matt, and Jervin. I said in the video that I would explain today what ALS is and what the ALS Association is doing to find a cure, so let's get started. ALS stands for Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis. Amyotrophic meaning the increasing weakening or atrophy of muscle tissue, lateral describing it basically to be directional, and sclerosis referring to the hardening of tissue. It is believed to sometimes be caused by a number of genetic mutations, but otherwise the cause is unknown. It is also known as the motor neuron disease, or as Lou Gehrig's disease in the US. It kills upper and lower motor neurons in the motor cortex, the brainstem, and the spinal cord. ALS is a pretty nasty condition to be diagnosed with. First of all, doctors can never really be sure when death will come from the disease after its onset/diagnosis. Only around 4% diagnosed live longer than 10 years. Stephen Hawking has been living with the disease for over 50 years as an incredibly rare example, which, can we just stop and look at that for a second? Stephen Hawking is 72 years old and was diagnosed when he was 21. This is a disease that has a median death rate of only 39 months after diagnosis. Like, he might just die of old age, or at least if the disease finally does take his life, it'll be at a pretty average age for someone who doesn't have a life-threatening disease. Man, life is crazy like that, I guess. Anyway, the ALS onset typically occurs in 4 different ways depending upon which motor neurons are affected first. Almost 3/4 begin with limb onset. The disorder begins in an arm or a leg, giving a person awkwardness in walking or manual dexterity. When it starts to spread, it will spread to the parallel limb and then onto the rest of the body. Next, almost 1/4 experience bulbar onset, with which the first loss of control occurs with speaking and swallowing. A very small percentage suffer from respiratory onset, where the muscles controlling breathing are affected, or begin with frontotemporal dementia, which later develops into ALS. No matter how the disease began or how long it takes to progress, most patients become paralyzed and lose the ability to breathe and eat on their own. Respiratory failure is the usual cause of death for those who suffer from this disease. So yeah, that sucks. However, there are many organizations across the world looking to cure or at least treat the disease, like the ALS Association. The national group focuses on funding research and promoting the cause, while individual chapters throughout the US provide services to patients and spread education and advocacy for the organization as a whole. They set up programs for patients to work with scientists in testing new drugs, and host workshops to propagate information about the disorder. They work to make sure that patients are cared for and that the disease is more commonly known amongst scientists and the general public. One way to spread awareness is through the Ice Bucket Challenge, which has raised over $70 million for the charity in just a few weeks. Not only does the fact that it's all over social media cause people to think and consider the disorder, but actually doing the challenge is supposed to give people a teeny tiny idea of what it's like having the disorder: involuntary muscle movement, poor control, and pain. I'll admit, I was one of the skeptics of the challenge, as it seems more like a fad and a call for attention on the participant rather than the disease, but at least some good is coming from it, and it was actually kind of fun to do with friends around. I hope this video has informed some of you as to what the disease, charity, and challenge are all about. Share this video with someone whom you think doesn't really know anything about the disease, and Nathan, we'll see you on Friday.